At least a few more weeks, and I'm really excited to be here with all of you. On behalf of the City of Salem, I want to welcome you and begin our celebration this morning with our land acknowledgement, recognizing that this land is Naumkeag, or fishing place, where generations of indigenous people lived and passed through for centuries. From the village upon the Naumkeag River, now known as North River, to Sachem Nanapashamet's fortification, now known as Castle Hill, the people of Naumkeag farmed, fished, traded, raised families, discovered and invented, created art, and above all else, honored the lands upon which you and I now stand today. We acknowledge that this is indigenous land, and also acknowledge the Massachusetts tribe, who continue to honor and hold this land into the present. It gives me great honor to introduce Thomas Green, who is with us today representing the Massachusetts tribe, to speak on behalf of the Tribal Council for today's event. I'd invite Mr. Green to join me here at this podium.
Wuni matapan, Nuisawak Thomas Green, Massachusetts Tuntawak, Nuisawak Nashawak Matug, Nuchi Panuak, Naposit, Massachusetts Pokapoak, Kuni Piamunaman, Kutabaramash. Good morning, my name is Thomas Green. My name in the Massachusetts language is Spirit Tree. I'm a descendant from the Neponset Band of Massachusetts that gathered at Naumkeag. Thank you all for being here today. Appreciate it. I'd like to say a few words about this project. Excuse me, I don't have my reading glasses.
You want mine?
These, I can see with these, but they're not my regular reading glasses, so please excuse me. So quite a few many years ago, the elders of our tribe visited Salem's City Council chamber, and they couldn't help but notice the many images of Salem's leadership of English descent that hung on the walls. They suggested that in the spirit of acknowledging and celebrating Salem's indigenous past, the leadership of the Pawtucket Band of Massachusetts should hang on the wall as well. That suggestion was wholeheartedly embraced by the City of Salem. A great effort was made by the people of Salem in collaboration with the tribe to seek out and find the right artist to create a portrait that would immortalize the spirit of the leadership of the first people of Salem. It was decided that the indigenous artist, Chris Papin, who's here with us today, would create this image that we have before us today. This portrait depicts the Squaw Sachem, accompanied by the spirit of her late husband, Nanapashamet, Grand Sachem to the Naumkeag people from the Pawtucket Band of the Massachusetts tribe, surrounded by the bounty of natural resources they had at their disposal, which helped to make the Massachusetts the most powerful people in the region. Future generations are also depicted in the presence and being guided by these traditional leaders from the past. So I'd like to give a special thanks to artist Chris Papin, the Massachusetts tribe at Naumkeag Tribal Council. A special thanks to Salem's Julie Barry and Elizabeth Peterson, along with everyone else who took part in bringing this portrait to fruition. Kudabadamish, and thank you to you all. You are appreciated.
Thank you, Thomas, for your remarks and for all the time and attention that you and members of the Tribal Council dedicated to this effort. In addition, I do want to recognize our council members who are here, in addition to council and members of the Massachusetts tribe. I'd also like to thank Councilor Ty Hapworth, who I believe was also a member of the selection committee, Councilor Jeff Cohen from Ward 5, who I saw previous right in front of me, sorry, Jeff, Councilor Meg Stott from Ward 6, Councilor Bob McCarthy from Ward 1, Counselor at Large Alice Merkel, Counselor from Ward 3, Patty Morcillo, and Council President. Thanks for letting me use your desk for a little bit. Any other counselors that I missed who are here? I don't think so. I know that this has been a project that has been supported by and large by our entire community, certainly our city councilors, so I know some couldn't join us, but share in our celebration for today's event. I want to recognize the members of the Public Art Commission and the Artist Selection Team. Thank you for your work in bringing us forward to today. The city staff who have been instrumental in this project, including our senior planner for arts and culture, Julie Berry, our planning director, Tom Daniel, director of the Jonathan Corwin House and Pioneer Village, Elizabeth Peterson, who unfortunately could not be with us today, but I know is celebrating from where she is. Our city clerk, Eileen Simons, who I thought I saw earlier as well. She's away, exactly, sorry. Maureen is ably representing her. My chief of staff in the mayor's office, Dominic Pangalo. Our DEI director, Regina Zaragoza Frey, who's here and played a role in this. I want to recognize the Wampanoag chef, Sherry Pocknett, whose food will be here soon from Sly Fox Den. She's going to be providing some special treats and refreshments for us. And of course, I want to thank Chris Pappin, our wonderful artist, for sharing his talents and his vision with us through this portrait. It's great to see you in our council chamber and in our community again. You know, we're blessed here in Salem. We really have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to our history. We've got the witch trials, the Great Age of Sail, world-class architecture, renowned literary giants. But there are many parts of our history that are less known and less celebrated, particularly related to our indigenous population. And so we're really excited about what is a long overdue project that I hope will be the first of many steps in reorienting how we think about our community's history and the representation of that history. For 187 years, the only portraits that have hung here in City Hall were of white men. This year, we're starting to make sure those faces are not the only faces you see when you step into this important public space. For 187 years, until September 19th of this year, we had 24 official portraits here in City Hall, and again, all were white men. Then, on September 19th, our 25th portrait was unveiled, the portrait of abolitionist and Salem resident Sarah Parker Remond, which hangs right outside the mayor's office, which I hope many of you had an opportunity to see on your way up. And after today's unveiling, we'll have 26 official portraits in this building. Now, 24 of them will still represent a part of our history that's pretty well known, which means we clearly have some work to do. But we have several important roles in our community and our country, and at least two of those lesser known parts of our history we'll be able to share with people who enter into this building. We're excited about today. It's a momentous day, a day when we share a representation of people who matter deeply, whose history matters, whose contributions impacted and continue to shape our community, our Commonwealth, and our country. I'm humbled to be with you for today's event. I'm so grateful that we marshaled together both the assets, the people, the resources, the talent to make today possible. And I'm really glad that we're joined not only by all the individuals I mentioned below, but members of our legislative delegation. Thrilled to have both our state representative and incoming district attorney-elect, Paul Tucker, here, and I'd like to introduce him for a few words. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. I hope it's not lost on anyone. I was listening when Mayor Driscoll was speaking that the 27th portrait will be of her and her 16-year legacy running this great city. So I look forward to that as well. I wonder in the mayor's office, if you look, Mayor Yusevich has the look of the tie over the side and look on a ship. I'm thinking maybe Mayor Driscoll on horseback charging forward somehow. So. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words here today. This really is a momentous day, and it's something that I have great respect for the dialogue that took place in this very council and the work that was done by so many people to collaborate and bring us to today. If we think about the importance of public buildings, the statements that public buildings make. And when I think about that, it brings me back to 1992, and we cut the ribbon on the police station, and Chief St. Pierre talked about the statement that buildings can make. And back then, when we opened that building, it was a statement that public safety mattered. It's no different today when we take a look at this beautiful portrait that will be unveiled, is that not only the buildings matter, but the statues matter, and things that hang on the walls in public buildings matter. It makes a statement about who we are as a people, who we are as a society. I think it does one other thing as well. There's an education piece to this. I will tell you, in a bit of an embarrassing moment, I didn't know what Juneteenth was until 3 years ago, and I'm a student of history. When folks come in here and they look to see what adorns the walls in here, we will now have a lesson in history about the indigenous people, the people who settled this land, the original folks that were here. And we can at least look back and acknowledge the past history, the things that we shouldn't be proud about. But if you look and we see what this represents, it's also forward thinking as well, and talk about endeavoring for all of us to do better. And that's what today means to me. Thanks very much.
You can see why we feel so grateful that Paul has not only served in the state representative role, but was a former police chief and will now be at the heart and soul of the justice that's delivered in this county. We couldn't have a better person doing that. So thank you, Paul, for those remarks. I'd like to invite to the podium our city councilor at large, Ty Hapworth, who played a meaningful role in the selection committee for additional remarks.
Thank you, Mayor Driscoll. And I think it bears mentioning that we've become very used to attending these afternoon events where we have a few words from Rep. Tucker, a few words from Mayor Driscoll, and I think this may be one of the last times that happens in this capacity, so I just want to appreciate them for their leadership. And if I have anything to do with it, I would love to see Mayor Driscoll on horseback in some sort of a portrait. So if there's a selection committee on that and you're an artist that's looking to be commissioned, on horseback works really well for a lot of us, I think. I want to thank the Massachusetts Tribal Council for their partnership and guidance. I've had the pleasure of chairing government services for the last 2 years, and we've reached out to the Tribal Council on a number of different occasions, and we've had a lot of guidance from them. And we have work that continues forward into 2023 with the Tribal Council, so just appreciate them, and hope we can continue to grow and strengthen this bond between the Tribal Council and the City of Salem in the coming years. Thank you also to the Salem Public Art Commission, Julie Berry and my fellow members of the Naumkeag Portrait Working Group, and to all the talented artists who submitted their portfolios for consideration. And I also should mention, just appreciate the working group for reviewing each and every one of those submissions, resumes, and personal statements. I can't say that it was a quick process or an easy process, but at the end of the day, we got to see a number of talented artists. And I think initially we thought this is going to be a very difficult choice because we've had so much talent that's come through here. And then we came across Chris's work. And if you hadn't had a chance to check out what Chris has done outside of this portrait, which I'm very excited to see here in a few minutes, please check it out. It's beautiful, it's unique, it's powerful. It was unlike anything that I think was submitted to that group, and I think we were very excited to have him because it is exactly what we were looking for when we started out the process. I think we can it can be easy to take for granted the significance of a space like this that you're sitting in. We frequently use this space as a council to sometimes argue about silly things, and I'm certainly guilty of that at times, but the decisions that are made in this room can echo out into the community, and they touch the lives of every Salemite, and they have for 200 years. And more than that, this room is the symbol of the values and principles that guide this city. And it is absolutely long overdue that the artwork in this council chambers reflect the rich tapestry of the cultures and experiences that make up our community. Art has the ability to shape the way that we think about and see our community and our place in the world. And I hope this beautiful portrait will forever serve as a reminder of the rich history of this land and the generations of people who have called it home and have passed through it. Let it be a celebration of the continuing partnership between the Salem City Council and the Massachusetts Tribal Council. And I'll just point out one more thing. There's a blank space right in the back room there you see. And appreciate Councilor Merkel and Councilor McLean for bringing forward the order to remove the portrait that sat there previously. This is only the start. There are many other groups that should be represented in this council chamber, and I hope that this is the start of a longer process. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hapworth. We're also pleased to be joined by the head of our Public Art Commission. You know, a few years ago, Salem indicated that as a community, we wanted to come together to better celebrate public art opportunities. We formed a public art master plan. We had a great cross-section of our community, young, old, who really worked together to develop a plan that could lead us over the next several years in thinking about the sorts of investments we wanted to make to support public art. And the Public Art Commission, also known as the PAC, has really played a meaningful role in not only helping us develop new public art experiences, but ensuring that many members of our community could enjoy it. So I want to invite our Public Art Commission Chair, Noreen Gachenard, to the dais to offer a few remarks. Thanks, Noreen, for all you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, and thanks to the mayor for appointing me to this commission. I've been on the commission since its inception, 2008, 9. I want to acknowledge my fellow commissioner, John Andrews, and vice chair. I don't see anyone else here, John, do you? It's been my pleasure and my privilege to serve on the Public Art Commission for 10, 12, 13 years, however long it's been. And it's my great privilege to introduce to you our artist today. Chris Papin is an artist of Ganza, Osage, and Lakota heritage. His cited influences are the lowbrow art movement, heavy metal, and juxtaposed magazines, and taps into the American cultural roots of 1970s underground comics, punk, and hot rod cultures. His art reflects the dominant culture's distorted perceptions of Native peoples and is based on the Plains Native art tradition known as ledger art. A graduate of the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe and a nationally recognized painter and ledger artist, Chris' work is in numerous museum collections, such as the National Museum of the American Indian in Washington, the DePaul Art Museum in Chicago, the Newberry Library in Chicago, the Bloch Museum of Art in Evanston, Illinois, the North American Native Museum of Geneva, Switzerland, and the Spencer Museum of Art, Lawrence, Kansas, among others, including Salem City Hall public chambers. He's represented by Blue Rain Gallery in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Chris is currently a board member of the Illinois State Museum and is a co-founder of the Center for Native Futures. He lives and works in Chicago with his wife, Deborah, and their daughter. Chris, please join us.
Are we going to do this now? Yeah, do it. So people know what I'm talking about when I say things. I'm going to echo a lot of the thanks. I'd like to echo a lot of the thanks and acknowledgments that have already been said today, but again, thank you to Mayor of Salem, Kim Driscoll, Julie Berry, and the Arts Council here in Salem, my brother Thomas Green, sister Jenny Oliver, who couldn't be here today, and the entire Naumkeag committee, my wife Deborah, my daughter Jihei. They've also had to sacrifice quite a bit of my time in order to work on this project. Also like to thank our ancestors, who I honestly believe are always guiding us and showing us the way. And yeah, it's not an accident that we're all here today. And you know, thinking about some of the words that have been said have been very touching, and the honest sentiments that are being expressed here today, it's very very encouraging. So thank you for doing that. It's been such an honor to have been chosen by the Naumkeag, Massachusetts people to represent them. I understood that responsibility and was very intimidated by it for quite a while, but I hope what I have done is something that they can be proud of. And it was an honor to work with the council, also to really listen to them and to work hard in order to portray their culture and their heritage honestly. So I'm going to read just what's in the program, but I really mean these words. So what you see in the portrait are two figures that are standing in the bay that was the site of the landing of Europeans. The two figures are Nanepeshemet and Squaxaquem. He stands behind her, guiding her. He was not present in the time that this portrait is portraying because he had passed away, and that is how Squaxaquem became the leader. And that's signified by the wampum belts. She holds an English coat, a token requested from the English by her each year per the details of the land title, but small recompense for the rights to the land. The figures are surrounded by the bounty of the land which the Europeans coveted, and the Naumkeag descendants are represented in modern clothing to show that they're still here today and that they are on the beach learning and listening. The sky resembles dawn, representing a new beginning, a new awakening. For the Naumkeag people, for me, this was a very wonderful learning experience for me, being able to come here and to learn from the people and learn the history, the indigenous history of this place. Again, just extremely humbled by the fact that they placed their trust in me, and that the city of Salem placed your trust in me as well. I've always strived to honor living legacy and tenacity in my work, and hearing what Ty said about my work being, standing out and being different, I think that it really stands out and is different in this hall. So I hope you all enjoy it. I chose not to give this painting a title to honor Squaxaquem because her name is unknown to history. She refused to have her name recorded. So, for Native people, we retain a lot of power and things that we've been able to keep for ourselves, traditions, names, that sort of thing. So I made a conscious decision to not give this painting a title. And I want the people, the Naumkeag people, to be able to have this for themselves, that the power and the strength lie within this imagery and memory. Their names are their own and will stay with them. Thank you.
Chris, we're so grateful for the commitment and dedication that you brought to this project, and we're so grateful that this will be in this particular space for many, many, many years to come.